When you think about legendary journalists, few names shine brighter than Dan Rather. For decades, he was the trusted face of American news, reporting from battlefields, the White House, and moments of crisis that define generations. Now, at 93 years old, many would expect him to fade quietly into retirement. But Dan Rather has chosen a very different path, one that proves he's as sharp, outspoken, and fearless as ever. The rise of a news icon, Dan Rather's journey into journalism was never easy. Born in Wharton, Texas, he grew up in a modest family and developed a fascination with storytelling early on. He got his start in local radio and TV before rising through the ranks to become one of the most recognizable journalists in America. By the 1960s, he was already making history, covering President John F. Kennedy's assassination in Dallas. His sharp reporting and calm presence under pressure launched him into the national spotlight. Soon after, he joined CBS News, and for decades, his name was synonymous with credibility and fearless reporting. Frontline reporting and unforgettable moments. Dan Rather wasn't the kind of journalist who sat behind a desk all day. He wanted to be where the action was. He reported directly from Vietnam during the war, often in dangerous conditions, and from the front lines of civil rights struggles back home in the U.S. Perhaps one of his most unforgettable moments came in 1974, when he fearlessly questioned President Richard Nixon amid the Watergate scandal. Rather wasn't afraid of tough questions, and he refused to back down, earning both respect and criticism for his uncompromising style. The CBS Evening News legacy. In 1981, Dan Rather became the anchor of CBS Evening News, following the footsteps of broadcasting legend Walter Cronkite. For over 2 decades, Americans welcomed him into their homes every evening. His presence became a symbol of trust, especially during national crises like 9/11's, when he delivered news with compassion and steadiness. But his career wasn't without controversy. In 2004, Rather reported on President George W. Bush's military service in a story that sparked national debate. The fallout was intense, leading to his departure from CBS after more than 40 years. Many thought this would be the end of his career. They couldn't have been more wrong. Life. After CBS reinvention at 70+, instead of retiring quietly, Dan Rather reinvented himself. He launched his own media company, continued to interview world leaders, and even found a second home on social media. His Twitter posts, sharp, witty, and insightful, quickly gained millions of followers. Fans love how he blends wisdom with humor, often using just a few words to spark deep conversations. He also hosts The Big Interview with Dan Rather, where he sits down with celebrities, musicians, and leaders for in-depth conversations. Even in his 90s, he shows no signs of slowing down. How he lives at 93 now. At 93 years old, Dan Rather lives a life that most would consider unbelievable. Instead of stepping away from the spotlight, he remains active, vocal, and fully engaged with the world around him. He reads daily, keeps up with political news, and continues to write with clarity and purpose. Friends describe him as sharp-minded, disciplined, and endlessly curious. He still wakes up early, sticks to a daily routine, and stays committed to learning. Despite his age, he embraces technology, proving that you're never too old to adapt. What shocks fans the most is his ability to remain relevant in a digital world dominated by younger voices. At an age where most people slow down, Dan Rather has become a cultural icon all over again. A legacy that inspires generations. Dan Rather's life is a lesson in resilience, reinvention, and passion. He went from small-town beginnings to becoming a voice of truth during some of the world's darkest times. Even after setbacks, he never gave up, choosing instead to redefine himself and remain a powerful presence. At 93, he is living proof that age is just a number. His insane life isn't about luxury or extravagance, it's about staying active, engaged, and unafraid to speak the truth, no matter how unpopular it might be. Final thoughts. Dan Rather isn't just a retired newsman, he's a living example of endurance, relevance, and purpose. At 93, his sharp mind, strong voice, and refusal to step back continue to inspire millions. In a world where many fade away with age, Dan Rather stands tall, proving that passion and integrity never grow old.